Countdown.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Time's up.
Yeah, baby.
Sad Wolfie.
Are you ready to talk hard?
Greetings and salutations, my friends. Hope everyone's doing well and welcome to Talk Hard. I am Pops. We are here to do it again, and with me, as always, is Stone, Loki, and Ironcaster. How are you, gentlemen?
Doing great.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's talk hard and talk about some comic books, talk about the industry, talk about times a changing. And it is interesting to look back and look at today and look forward. So chat's already lighting up a little bit. Chris Berger's been here, the wrench of wrench, the Pops mod himself. Claude, how are you doing? Jacob Ironside's out there, so hopefully you guys are doing good. And yes, Chris Berger, he said Ironcaster looks like he might be ready since he downed a kegger and hopped on that dragon. Yeah, all right.
And that was just breakfast.
Yes, that was early. All right. So, all right. So I thought we would look back because it is the 30th anniversary of 1992. 30 years ago, it is literally like my Nexus era where there's only about, a few. I don't count all the little comic shops that would come and go. Like we had a Sears that had a comic card shop at one point. I mean, it's like I don't count those. I count the mainstay standalone shops in that era. And this was totally like I started the flea market booth, was flipping comic books. I don't like saying like selling comic books because it makes it seem like I was getting like a diamond order weekly or anything like that because it was like very small scale stuff. But I was into flipping. Like if I could buy 10 of these and they would pay for what I wanted, that was my shtick. That was my approach to getting through that. So 1992 is a big year. I wanted to go through a few of the big name things. Let's start with the biggest one because it made the news. And I think, Loki, you talked about this on one of your shows, like the Superman 75, the black bag, the death of Superman thing was a phenomenon. So do you still have your copy? I think, did you say you still had yours?
I've got my original copy that I opened. I've got the original copy that I bought the same day that I left sealed, and I've got another copy that I bought about a year ago that was signed by Dan Jurgens and the Jerry Ordway.
Awesome.
So I've got 3 copies of that black bag.
Awesome. Yeah. Ironcaster, do you have a 75?
Right here.
Look at that, man, rocking it. Awesome. There you go. It's an open copy.
This
nice.
was a copy I got in a big old stack of comics I got from a coworker. So like I have included even in the back. He was kind enough to give me all. Of the
that's the stuff that came in. Yeah, that's what came inside. So folks, if you don't know the black bag Superman, hail to Zax, by the way, hail to Zax. Superman 75 came black sealed with the Superman symbol, blood dripping down. Inside was the the funeral armband, which is what he's included in your stuff. You got your funeral armband. Death of Superman was this huge deal. You know, that he and Doomsday basically fight each other to death, kill each other, and then it kicks off a whole series of, you know, 4 Supermen. You don't know which one's the real one and that kind of stuff. So a huge issue in 92, by far the biggest selling. I mean, this thing went to $75 within a few weeks. Once it made the news, and I don't mean the news like a little bit like now, like, you know how things are here. Yeah, there you go. So he has the ripped open bag. They even gave you too. Cool. Hey man, that's better than not having the bag. $250. Jeez Louise, you can't get. I mean, you can't hardly get anything for $250 now. It didn't make the news like today. Like, you know how ADD news is now. This made the news for like a couple weeks because you couldn't get copies. They were all gone. So I don't know when Wizard and them started coming out with prices. I think I didn't see a copy in my greater area for probably a couple months. And it was in that $50 to $60 range. You know, it was always like one high up on the top. You know, everybody had to oogle over it, whether they were going to pawn out that much money. And I always felt bad for the normies, because the normies would be the ones that would track you down and say, I'm really into comics, and I picked up that Death of Superman. And I'm like, oh, you really overpaid, most likely.
Yeah.
I said, because I told people, says, don't pay more than, if you really want to have it, more like a memento of that era, like you want to, like that, but don't think you're making money on this book. It was way printed. It was like, there's a lot of copies right now, not a lot of copies that are mint, but I said, don't pay more than $20. Just take it as a 20. It's like an expensive lotto ticket by today's standards or something like that. Fine.
Pops, do you remember QVC and Home Shop and all that crap back in the day? You remember that? Okay.
Yeah.
So I got for Christmas one year, I got an entire Batman set. It was the when he gets his bat broke. Can't think of the
Nightfall.
Nightfall.
Yeah.
And the 2 after that, right? So Christmas, I get this, and they were signed copies, and I'm like, "How did you get this whole?" Oh well, we paid that $2,000 off that QVC, and I'm like, "Oh my god!" It came out to like $10 a comic.
Wow.
And I had told them, because they had the Superman thing going, right now, if you order right now, you will get the entire Death of Superman, the Reign of the Superman, and we will include Funeral for a Friend for only $2,999. And you will get these special editions signed. And I told them, I said, this is the worst deal ever. Yeah. We can just take me to the comic shop and I will get them. So I have no idea why she did this with like the Dark Knight thing, but that's what they did. They ended up making like payments for like a year to get that Dark Knight set. And I was just like, no.
You're so special. You're so special, though. You had them all. You couldn't even get rid of those because you almost feel like guilty. I would almost feel bad if someone gave me.
I've still got them.
Yeah, you can't. You almost feel like you couldn't part with those anytime soon. So, yeah. Chris Persia, you say it did not just make the news; it made the mainstream news. That's what I meant. We didn't have like comic book news was like Overstreet, Wizard, and Comics Buyer Guide. Those were the 3, right? Overstreet is more like the real number. Wizard was like the PR and the press and the hype. And Buyer's Guide was high end. It was more like a high price, but it had a lot more details and information in it. So like if you were into collecting a writer and an artist, Comic Books Buyer's Guide was better because it gave more details in their listings at the time. And if you go on eBay, you probably can find old copies for $1 or so. You can go to a comic shop. You can find one that's got like a lot of back issues and stuff that's not bagged and boarded, and ask them if they have old magazines. Loki's kept all these Wizards. We got to do a Wizard night. We just grab a Wizard and just open it up, because it is so much fun to look at what was popular, who they interviewed, what was the talk of the town, that kind of stuff. So yeah. But when I said news, I meant like ABC, CBN. I don't know that it was on CNN, but all the mainstream major networks it was on.
Yeah, Superman died.
I think the only other time I've heard of anything like this coming across the news was like Captain America dying. It was like that's the only other time I've seen like comic book stuff make the news that wasn't tied to a movie.
Yeah, that made the news for a while. The Fantastic Four death, they did a little Fantastic Four death for a while. That made a little bit of news. It didn't make like evening news, but it made like all the major websites and stuff covered it. And there's been a few of those kinds of things where it made like in more like modern era, more like major website coverages, but not like ABC, CBS. That so that's the kind of thing that's different.
They tricked everybody, Pops. They lied to everybody. They had this planned out to a T.
Yes,
if you don't think they did, there are interviews where they've talked about, well, we got everybody together and we can't kill them off. No, we're going to bring them back. And we're going to do this. And this is how we're going to do. They had the entire thing planned out. But the world, for a moment, the world said Superman is dead. Superman has been killed. He was killed defending Metropolis. He died a hero. He was the only one that could stop this monster that went toe to toe with him, and he's dead. And it was absolutely insane. It was everywhere. There were people going and buying comics that hadn't bought comics for years. DC knew exactly what they were doing.
And it really just threw more gas on the fire of the industry at this time, right? Because you had this explosion of creators, of artists and writers, because you already had like massive popularity surrounding Alan Moore and Frank Miller and Chris Claremont and some of this, but you also had this rise of Todd McFarlane and Jim Lee, Silvestri, these guys, and then of course they go off on their own, they form Image. And then, of course, you have all this happening. So, yeah, it was just crazy. And, yes, Jaguar's absolutely right. QVC is where Mike Rowe started. Yep. I regret so much. I had such an opportunity in college to go get a job over there at the Home Shopping Network. And it was just like, it was like my conscience was like, I can't do this. I can't just be up there. Like Loki said, right now you can get Spawn 1 through 50 for $2,000. I mean, I couldn't possibly bring myself to do this.
We will throw in the Ultimate Undertaker buoy for absolutely free.
I couldn't do it.
With Ironcaster, the knives.
For 1 penny. Yes. Let's see. The death of Captain America didn't make 6 o'clock news in Australia, but Superman did. Okay, that's interesting to know. Okay. And let's see. The only comics I have are a stack of 77 to 86 Star Wars. Ooh, that's a nice set, though. Those are nice. That's 77. 77
My girl
nice.
Right now is said I'm finding them in the wild. I'm not getting them anywhere else. That is exactly the collection she's working on right now. Is that 77 to 86 Star Wars comics. So.
It's fun. It's fun. There's some fun ones in there. That's for sure. I have one that I might show off then. I'll have to find a way to get a picture of it to her. I have one of the, it's not of that series, but it's the same era. It is the spinoff thing they did for Empire. And that's where you get the first comic book appearance of like Yoda and Boba Fett and all of them in a comic book. But it's like the magazine special one, basically from Empire. So. But yeah, so Death of Superman was the biggest thing of the year. No surprise there. So I have this list that I found. So this guy had compiled. He basically found like scans from the different magazines. He scanned those in there and the up-and-comings. And he also has like the Diamond list that was published. And now Comicron has, and I verified through Comicron, so it's pretty accurate. The titles and stuff get a little screwy, but I know everything is. I think Ironcaster has the third one, but number 2 on the list, the biggest selling comic book of 92 was Wildcats, number 1. Jim Lee's Wildcats. Yep. And I don't know where I have it, but I have a copy. And I thought to myself, it was that big probably just because of Jim Lee. I couldn't justify any reason thinking that it was just his thing. So yeah. You familiar with that one, Ironcaster?
I might just have it, but I can't help but wonder if it's not just because it was Image, because it was everything from the company was like selling like crazy. It seemed,
but it outsold all the Spawn issues. That's what I'm saying.
Really?
It outsold Spawn. Oh yeah. So I'll just quickly read off the top 10 list. So number 1 is the Superman 75. Wildcats number 1 is 2. Venom Lethal Protector is 1. Is 3. Spider-Man 2099 was 4. Spawn 8 is 5. I don't there's a typo here. I need to verify this one line item though, but I think they mean Spider-Man 26, but they wrote something else. But Punisher 2099, then Spawn #1, Pit 1, and X-Men 1. So the thing about X-Men 1 is it was still selling well past 91. I mean, it was well into 92. So I'm not even shocked that X-Men, because they sold 6 to 8 million copies of that comic book because they had 5 covers.
The mighty have fallen.
Oh yeah, they're so happy with their 40,000, 25,000. It's so insane. If you go to like these hardcore investing comic book sites and key collector and stuff, you'll have stuff on the list of just being rare. So it's like the ends of runs like G.I. Joe and Ninja Turtles. If you're into that stuff, let me tell you what, you'll run into these comic books and be like, why can't I find these? Or how come they're so expensive? There's only like 9,000 of them that were even made. Like it was at the end of the run. These people were contracted and paid. It's like it just ran itself out. And you end up with like these print runs of only a few. But even print runs that are in the 20, 30,000s back then are considered scarce and rare. Now, that's kind of the norm for a lot of these issues in comics. It's so crazy.
Yeah, I was trying to go find the numbers for what's going on now, but like looking at what DC's got going on, some of their biggest titles are below 200 are below the top 200 for the month.
Oh yeah. Only Batman sells 6 figures. Only Batman titles sell around 100,000 copies. I don't even know if that's a new number, old number or not. Anyway, Soul Assassin dropped in here. How you doing, my friend? What was the biggest comic book of the 90s is without doubt the X-Men 1. It's a 5-cover collage and a special edition. So it's 4 issues that fit a puzzle. And if you guys want to pull it up and share it, we can do that. That's 4 issues. They fit as a puzzle. There's a 5th one where it folds out. Those came out. Everyone wanted every single cover. It was a perfect gimmick because everyone had to have them all. It was a puzzle. And you could buy the 5th one. It was premium. It was a little bit more expensive. And that's the comic I'm referring to that sold. I want to say it's between $6 and $8 million. We can probably, Chris Persia will probably send us he's already got stuff. We should give Chris a link to the show. He can just share screens. But yeah, that is by far the biggest comic book. I believe not of the 90s. Soul Assassin, I believe that is of all time. I don't think anything is, and nothing is even close. But Spawn 1 came out, and it was just a phenomenon. I mean, I just couldn't believe it. I mean, I knew it was going to be cool. Everyone was into McFarlane. It was so hot, and I bought a second copy that I ended up selling to my friend because I was like, at that point, he goes from sold out to $5. Right, so you're like, that's a fair amount of money back then, because it was $1.95 or so cover price. But what I was shocked, and I actually had a copy. I actually gave this away on another stream. This was number 8. It's like because number 8 sold so high. It's like because this is the first time Todd did a homage to his Spider-Man 1 cover, so everybody had to have that. So that's why it topped.
Funny you happen to show that picture or show that comic, because just to steal the spotlight for a moment here, I have 5, 6, and 7 right by me.
5, 6, and 7. Yes, that 6 is a first appearance issue, I believe, of that character. I haven't read those in forever though.
Yeah, it's like and look how much they're going for now.
What's that? $10 a piece, I bet.
$7.50, $4.15.
That's not bad. That's not bad at all. The 9 is first appearance of Angela. It's a little harder to find in a good quality. I might have some of those behind me in my box right there. I'll have to look and see if you want. So when you guys think about this time, I know, Loki, you're going to do a little bit more of a breakdown on Image. I don't want to spend too much of time there. When you think about this list that we're talking about, Wildcats, Spawn's on there a couple times. Pitt, which is one of my great ones behind me. It's like a keeper forever. Dale Keown. Wetworks is actually on the list at 12. Valiant actually made the list as well because Valiant came in at like 13 with Bloodshot, indie comics, those kinds of things. What are some of the things you think about when you think about that era and what you've enjoyed out of it from that list?
All keepers. Every single thing on that list is a keeper that you do not sell and you do not get rid of. So there's a lot of trading that goes on. with comic book collectors. You'll trade, you'll pass them back and forth. You might buy a collection of somebody. I'm about to buy a big Batman collection off of someone that's selling. I'm about to spend I'm probably going to spend about $500 on a Batman collection from there are a few 60s and 70s that are in really good condition, but pretty much it's everything from the 80s and 90s into the early 2000s. And I mean everything. So cool. $450 on a collection like that is not, out of the question. And they're very well taken care of. And some of them, they've been opened and read. Some of them have been sealed since purchase. But everything that Pops is talking about, Pit, Wildcats, Spawn, Superman, all of that, you don't trade and you don't give away. They're all keepers. That is extremely rare for a year where you're looking at the top 10 and you're going, oh, I'd keep every single one of those. I would not get rid of any of those.
No.
Yeah.
Actually, about a year ago, I went and just managed to pick up a copy of Pit #1.
Yeah. I
just got that.
It is
right there.
It is just tremendous.
Oh,
9.8. Oh yeah. I troll the internet for the perfect ones like this because you can't get Spawn 1 for this. If you troll enough, it's a buyer's market right now, guys. I'm telling you, it's hard with shipping, but even if you have to pay shipping, you can get it for about $100. So 100, 115, a 9.8 like this. Dale's gonna be back. He's talked about doing a Pit comeback. I don't know. We have a drop date on that. I think he's got some other stuff in the hopper, but at some point, I just want to see more Pit. It was so good. It was so
didn't
good.
he?
First, Wildcats. I mean, yeah, you guys are right. Go ahead. Did he?
Didn't I thought I heard him saying he was gonna bring it back with even Ethan Van Sciver through his comic company or whatever.
All caps. Yeah.
Because that was what gave me the kick in the pants to go out and find one.
Oh yeah. It's worth doing. And a good Spawn 1, a 9.8 of Spawn 1, probably at least 200. The market's soft right now, so you might be able to get lucky. You always troll auctions. You know what I mean? Just trying to troll your auctions. Look for somebody. It's a buyer's market right now. Everything's softening with people going through stuff. So
don't go to the comic book shop like I do. You'll spend way too much money way too quick.
Well,
I love my comic book shop. That's why I go there. But if you can get an auction, if you can get some stuff in auction or from another collector, like what I'm doing, where I've been able to look at everything and go, yes, okay, I will pay this. Give me a month to get the money together, and I'll pay it and I'll buy it all from you.
And some shops have, especially for collections or runs, like you were mentioning, looking for like a Star Wars run or something like that. Like, go to those shops and go through their back issues. Go for sales days. They have sales days. I actually picked up, I graded them all. They were beautiful. 9.6s, 9.8s of like Venom stuff. Before that movie came out, he had like a buy two, get one free thing. So I paid like $5 and $6 a piece for these beautiful Venom covers of just Amazing Spider-Man 332 and 333, and just you pick and choose $5 or $6. If you're wrong a little bit, or you want to get your flush out your collection, because you can read it carefully and not mess it up. But you know what? Sometimes you just want to do it for the other reasons too. So Keely Chow hopped in. There you go, buddy. Hang in there. What's going on? We're talking 90s comic books right now. Awesome one says, Pops hard. Ooh, that's a double entendre. I'm not sure I like. I'm not sure how to take that one there. Of all the nicknames, awesome one. So yeah, Image was a big deal. I had friends who were kind of all in and leery at the same time. So it wasn't totally ubiquitous with how everybody had that. I will tell you, like Valiant, nobody got in early. I don't know anybody personally until it started to really blow up. So the Valiant stuff that's out there, I mentioned Bloodshot. Valiant is one of those things where it's really good reading, but they didn't have sort of like a collectability at the time. Like nobody thought about it. It was all the weird ones, the gold versions and things like that. So Valiant's footstep was kind of later and wasn't as widespread for regular folks. I don't know exactly who got in on all that. And now They're kind of making a comeback, but until they actually do something pop culture-y, I'm not sure it's going to it's going to explode. But Image definitely changed everything away from the big two. Because you notice, other than X-Men, because X-Men was still riding a high, right? Because we had all that stuff. You had the spin-off stuff with Spider-Man 2099, Punisher 2099, which were like experimental stuff. It was fine. I don't think it really was that big a deal. I think it was more like gimmick stuff because they were #1 issues. And then, of course, the Venom Lethal Protector was a huge issue. Now, Arcus, you have a Spider-Man 2099. Did you pull that one out hand for us?
I have to go grab it real quick.
All right, we'll have him get that for us. I want to point that one out because it has the cardstock covers. We'll discuss that a little bit and document again how difficult those are to find mint. Now, those are... I don't know if we've missed the boat on those Loki to invest in, but they were. I sold my 9.8s probably too soon. They're hard to find in 9.8s. They really are. There's a lot of copies out there.
I do have a 2099 that is never. I've got it's one of the hard plastic shells.
Mm-hmm. The Mylar ones.
Yeah, that has been in that since I got it. It was never opened. It is signed. There's a certificate of authenticity, whether it matters or not. But the guy, the inker, signed by the inker. But I've never opened it. I've never read it. I've never took it out of that hard plastic sleeve ever. Yeah. So if I had it looked at, I don't know. I have no idea what it would be worth. But it's one of those that I had another copy. So why am I gonna open the hardback? Yeah,
it's the way you roll when you do collecting and investing. You know, you got your reader stuff and you have your non-reader stuff.
And I was a young teenager then, so it's one of those like I knew from listening to my dad who had he had the original Spider-Man, the very first Spider-Man comic. He had all these, and he was like, make sure you take care of this stuff and don't take them out of the package and yada, yada, yada. Yep. That's the only reason why that shit's still there and I've still got it in that same condition. So one of these days I will take it to a grader and see what they'll do with it.
All right, Cash, let's show this baby off. All right, nice looking comic.
There you go.
Beautiful. So that's not normal comic book paper or binding or anything, folks. It's like a card stock. And if he runs where his left hand is along that spine, you can almost feel through there and you can see indentations and you'll see white lines and things like that. They are very hard to find in good condition.
Like I got a couple right there.
He's got one right there. And I don't see anything at the top looks good on this, what you're showing me. The edge looks pretty good. So I think you have one color break that was on that one side, but everything else looks pretty good. It's a little roughing, or is that the bag? Looks like it's
probably the bag.
It's like it's the bag.
Like, anyways, I mean, I was fortunate that this was quite literally gifted to me about 2-3 years ago.
Yeah,
I'll be back in a minute. I'll be back in just a minute. I'm gonna get a picture. Give me just a minute.
Yeah. So that's really awesome. Very hard copies to find in good condition, folks. Actually,
I was kind of looking through my bag real quick.
Oh, there's 8. There he is. By the way, the Spawn issues are a lot of fun because McFarlane realized real quick running a company was challenging. So he started reaching out to all these real popular writers. So when you start getting into like 8, 9, 10, 11, whatever, he starts having all these other great writers. There it is. First appearance of Angela. Beautiful comic book. Talk about a comic book that people... I'm shocked that one hasn't taken off more. But I think that nobody knows what to do with her. Like nobody knows exactly how to turn her into like a Red Sonja or something. I love this one. I love that comic book. Oh my gosh, I loved it. So much fun. For those of you who don't know who Cerebus is, his comic books were always in black and white, hence the joke. So that was good. Yeah. So which one are you missing? Are you missing certain ones?
I think I have the first 10 at least.
You have the first 10. Okay. I'll have to look and see which ones I have and don't have. Oh, there's a tick. What number is that?
Number 6.
Oh, it's more like a normal size, or is it still bigger? Is it still bigger than a regular comic?
This one's a bigger one.
Yeah, 6 is still big. Yeah. There's a normal size one. So on Tick is an independent comic that's called the NEC. You see on the top left is New England Comics, and Tick is like almost like a magazine size. You have to get I don't know if it's a Silver Age bag. You may want to get a Golden Age bag. Get a really magazine bag or something to double in. Even if you have to put 2 boards in it to keep them safe. So, yeah, very cool. So, but yeah, these were. This was the era. Let me get back to chat. We'll make him a little smaller here. He's gonna keep going with Tick. Oh, I love Tick. Tick was so much fun. So, let's see. Hail to Darth Arlena. The Cavatano Cavalryman Chi. Chi, how you doing, man? Took a chance at Ultraverse. They ended up getting bought by Marvel and eventually shelved. Yeah, there was actually some cool issues in there, man. I actually enjoyed some of the Ultraverse stuff. It was dead on arrival, though, man. And they mass printed some of that stuff. It was so, and same with the cards. They released these cards. I was like, oh, these cards are kind of cool. I bought like a box of those cards. I think I got stuck with all that stuff for years. I don't even know how I got rid of it all. Oh my gosh. So, let's see what else. Okay, somewhere, Jacob Ironside, somewhere I have an X-Men comic that they gave out at a theater for the first X-Men movie. That's cool. Look into that. Make sure you bag and board it. Take good care of it. Some of those are extremely rare. I actually had a Hasbro G.I. Joe comic graded. It only came back at like an 8, and I think I still made over $100 on it because they're just hard to find. Like they're just rare. Who kept that comic book in great condition? But if nothing else, if you just want to read it and have it, hey man, it's cool too. So. Figured anything with Angela would be very valuable because the rights dispute back then. Yeah, the rights dispute are still probably going on, to be honest. So I had that one. I may still have that one, actually. The one with Paul the Samurai and Arthur on the cover. I just loved that one, Ironcaster. That was one of my favorites from that Tick series. I think it's number 5. Yeah, number 5.
Yep. Like I said, it's just like there's a whole miscellaneous like bag full of comics.
These are great comics.
Yeah, it's basically a bag of this era.
That's perfect, man. That's so sweet. And these Tick comics are hard to find. They're hard to find. So, all right. Anyone have some good old X-Men? Wish I still had mine from the late 80s and 90s. I do. The only thing I have, well, let me see. No, I don't have anything handy, Darth Alina. I can try to pull my box up.
The majority of my X-Men comics now are the Epic collections, so I went for the trade.
Which we've recommended for people trying to balance their finances, because if you're going with anything that has Claremont's name on it, it's going to cost you some money, unless it's going to be totally ratted out. I had this one that I opened on a stream. I don't know, Ironcaster, if that was one with you or somebody else. Loki's going to share a photo. We'll do that just 1 second, Loki. I opened this up on the stream. This is an X Factor, so it's a little bit later. Arlena is a little bit later because it has to do with Onslaught. I opened it and I was showing it off, and there's a whole. This is not a fold. There's a misprint. There's a chip in the page. The page. There's no top corner on the cover on the page. So I'm like, well, there's no reason to. Yeah, makes it kind of worthless. So it's there you go. That's not even a fold. A fold would be bad too, by the way. But yeah, Loki sharing. Let's see. Loki, you showing off his. I've
got a couple of them.
There he is. There's the 2099.
Oh, it's signed.
That's the 2099 that I've had since it came out. It's one of the ones I've taken with me everywhere I've ever gone, everywhere I've ever moved. I got another one.
I hate talking about the signature thing. I know, Loki, you don't care as much, but I hate crapping on it because people ask about it and stuff like that, about valuation or whatever, and certificates of authenticity. It's just real tricky, folks. People have forged certificates. The grading company, the main company, CGC, doesn't authenticate that signature. They just put a note that there's a signature on the cover. You don't get any positive or negatives from that. The only one that will authenticate that signature would be the CBCS company, and they just don't sell as high as a price, even though they're probably better grading company. But yeah, Street Fighter. Oh man, what a great cover, by the way.
These last two, this one and the one I've got one more I wanted to show you. I rarely ever will pay over $100 for a comic, if that. And this is one of the few that I was like, you know what? Screw it, I'll do it. And I love the cover.
The cover's amazing.
The gold,
gold variant,
yeah, the gold variant, gold edition. The other one I've got, I think you'll like, Pops, is
He says that as though I don't like any of them. Oh, the black and white. Ooh, yeah.
this is the hardback Year One Batman, first edition.
The Miller.
Yeah,
He's the GOAT. Reason I'm here. Reason I did it was because of him. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's a good one. Is that sealed? Did you read it?
Oh no, I've read it.
Yeah.
I've read it. It's opened. It's been opened. It's been read. But yeah, just the fact that it's the hardback. I'm big on novellas, so I love the novellas.
Yeah, I think I have Spawn for you, Ironcaster. I at least have 11 and 12.
Let me. Ooh.
I have 12.
Oh, I love that cover for 12.
Yeah, let me know if you need those.
Yeah. I'll go through and see what I do have here, because I know I also have a couple like 65 and 66, just kind of random ones in there.
I'm looking for Darth Arlena, who asked about X-Men.
Oh, actually, speaking of, this cover was asked about.
Okay. Oh, the wraparound. Yes. Let's do that. So this is the famous cover. So this technically came out at the very end of 1991, but it sold for like 3 or 4 months. Like, it was insane. This was completely nuts. And I have to be honest to nerd on people that you were kind of frowned upon if you didn't have all 4 covers. Technically 5, but you at least had to have the 4. Like, you weren't really in this to win this if you didn't have them all, to be honest.
So out of curiosity, with this team, what was everyone's favorite?
Well, Wolverine was so massive. He was actually going to be... So at this era, it's Wolverine, Ghost Rider, Spider-Man, and Hulk. And they would go. Yeah. They would guest appearance them in everything.
Fantastic Four. They made a whole Fantastic Four.
They shelved the Fantastic Four and made them their own thing, so they would be their own Fantastic Four. Yes. But what do you? Hold on, Ironcaster. Let's soak this up. So, for those of you who don't understand, so Magneto, where the bubble is one cover. Cyclops and Wolvie is another cover. Gambit, Colossus, Psylocke, and Rogue is another cover, and then Beast, Storm, and Jean with Professor in the back. That's another cover. As far as sales go, obviously the Cyclops Wolverine one, and then or selling them as a set of 4 or 5 was the way to sell them, in my opinion. That's how I sold them anyway. Make the most bang for my buck.
For myself, for the team, it was Gambit. Gambit was my guy.
Yeah. I got to be honest. It was Wolverine. To me, it was all about the story. It was like a pick and choose. Like, certain stories would highlight certain ones and would be better than others. I really couldn't tell you that I had certain. And even now, I just read a Wolverine issue. The name is escaping me. It's a standalone issue. It's like a what if type story. If Wolvie was on, it's like. Anyway, go ahead. What were you showing me, Ironcaster? You had another thing I think pulled up.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's a standalone. Yeah. Hearts in Darkness. Yeah, Hearts of Darkness. Look at that Punisher.
It's one of the wraparounds.
He had a lot of following in that era, too. God, I love the wraparound covers. So glad these guys are doing their own stuff now so we can get that and get legit wraparound covers again.
So. I'm half tempted to like find another copy of this just to salvage for the wraparound for the wall. True.
All right, so Darth Arlena says Rogue and Wolverine. Good choices. Very good choices. Chris Purchase going Wolverine every day, any day. Yes, with you.
Bub.
Bub. Chi says Jim Lee did a great job. I agree. Yeah, nice X-Men
the Bub thing. Let's go, Bub.
Yep. Yeah. All right. So, Darth Arlena, you asked about X-Men. This is not entirely in what you were looking for. This is what I have handy. I think this may be a little bit before. This is 265. It's a young Storm cover. I love Storm. Her as a leader, too, was so underrated. 265. Again, like I said, crossover stuff. This is much, much later than the 92s. This is how they would do it. Spider-Man, he's just in it because this is just like we just have issues. It's like boobs and Spider-Man sells comic books. There you go. A little bit later, this was in the X-Men issue. Oh, this was the one that this is 92. This is the one I was talking about. This is X-Men 26. So it was a little bit later. This is the crossover with the Avengers, the Blood Ties story.
I remember having they sold like a box set that had all 5 of those comics in it.
Yes, they did. Yeah,
and
that was my favorite one. Part
for
2.
years, I had this thing like in the box, unopened, and then my brother got a hold of it.
This was a new team change. 281. This is the 4th or 5th appearance of Bishop. 288.
Oh, that cover.
Yeah, they were good covers back then. This is one of the older ones. This is a 226. This is a Fall of Mutants storyline. Look at that. Electrocute of the X-Men. So, yeah, I don't think I have a 92 issue in here of what we're talking about. So, but yeah, so the point of tonight was to speak a little bit to everything changed in 1992, right? Everything changed. And then we look at today, and I don't know about you guys, but especially with Rippaverse, I feel like everything is changing again. How do you guys feel about that? I mean, I know we all we're kind of aligned a little bit with us not wanting to spend our money with the big guys, but do you think, I think the ripple today may be bigger than then.
Well, we're in a bit of a different place now, considering that the big 2 are propped up by larger companies to where you're not going to have the same problems you did then necessarily because, Marvel doesn't have to like sell off all the movie rights just to keep the lights on.
True. Very true. Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised though if Warner Brothers doesn't come in and like shut down the comic side, just shop it out.
Well, I've said all along, I don't know why that's not happening. I don't know why there's not just licensing it out. Just license it out. So
because they do not want anybody else to have access to their IP, and they do not want anyone else saying they are successful in doing what DC Comics and Marvel Comics can't do.
Well, that's true.
It's no longer about making money. When Marvel was selling off the rights to its characters, when they were selling off Hulk, when they were selling off Thor, it's not about money and staying in business anymore. It's about the message. And that's what they've kept saying. We're going to turn this into our soapbox for this, or we're going to use this character to promote this. It's not about making money anymore. And the people that are successful and going, you know what, you can't do this, all they're doing is making the big 2 look bad. And they don't want that. That's why there's been so much pushback against Rippa. That's why there was so much pushback against Ethan Van Sciver. That's why there is so much pushback against independent creators that are getting their Indiegogos taken away and all this crap that's going on. PayPal cutting them off. It's all because they have to act like they're successful, even though they're getting the crap kicked out of them by indie comics.
Yeah, but I couldn't agree more. People are loving the X-Men talk. Yeah, so part of Uncanny. Jacob Ironside's talking about that movie comic book he has, a special premiere night prequel issue. Very, very cool. Cheese bringing up a Silver Surfer 50. Silver Surfer 50 has this beautiful silver sort of a 3-dimensional look to it. So I had those in that general timeline. I think it came out a little bit after in 92, but I don't know the date off the top of my head. Uncanny was the intro. Well, Uncanny was X-Men until 1991, 270 or so. That's awesome. Yeah, you had Gambit by then. Gambit came up in 266. So as long as you had Gambit, you were in a sweet spot. It's good stuff. So, and Warner Brothers needs all that crap that they're making. Yeah, they're not going to. I think he's right. You were talking about earlier. It's like the stuff that was happening with Batman. You guys were talking about this morning. All that kind of stuff. It's sick. She's bringing up Infinity Gauntlet and Infinity War. Yes, they were game changers. And man, I tell you what, just if you don't think it's criminal working for these big 2, let's ask Jim Starlin how he feels about his finances after knowing what they did, where they made 20 freaking movies in Infinity Saga and how much money he actually got paid. It's criminal. That guy should be sipping drinks on a beach somewhere the rest of his life. because he basically made all that happen for them. Soul says, I'm got to be used at the top. They don't want to make any way for the new guys. Yeah. So, so when it comes to indie comics, I have to admit, this is kind of where I kind of pop back in from a collecting standpoint, because I was like already like selling off some of the stuff, downsizing a little bit. I was messaging some YouTubers who were doing like investing stuff. Like I can't leave money on the table was basically what my wife and I were discussing. Hence the reason I got a lot of stuff graded. And then, of course, I was listening to other YouTubers talk about comic books, and I was like, these can't be as bad as they say they are. And, of course, they're that bad or worse. And that's when I realized that a lot of the creators I like had gone independent. So that's where I ended up finding, Graham Nolan, Ethan Van Sciver, Chuck Dixon. These guys are the greatest to me. Like, for me, they were they're the ones that I grew up with. They're the ones that are in this era. So the photo is funny because it's still hanging there. I actually just got my Thin Blue line. So, if you don't know much about Mike Baron, this is a major Punisher creator and writer. Did a lot of other stuff. Great. I did a little interview with him. But this is the Thin Blue line. He just showed up. Got that. Got my Thin Blue line. Got both covers. And got all my little gimmicks and add-ons. And I believe you can still check out Thin Blue Line. They're on Twitter as well. Follow links. I think there are some stuff you can get. I think there's some overprints and things like that you can get reasonably priced. Obviously, they come just like that. They come bag boarded, secured. These guys know what they're doing. So, yeah.
Isn't it interesting that a lot of these creators that we love, a lot of these people that don't work for these companies anymore, they were all labeled gatekeepers. They were all, it was all Is, Obes, Yahtzees, all this stuff by the Scissoring Hens. But the Scissoring Hens are the ones saying, unless you are this color, unless you are this sex, unless you worship this liberal, blah, 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 you can't be a part of our team. Isn't that interesting how they labeled all these great and wonderful artists Is, Obes, Yahtzees, and gatekeepers? But that's all these people can do is say, you can't be a part of this unless you fill out our checklist.
It's so bad, Loki. I can't even apply for a job at those mainstream comic book review type companies or anything like that. Not bound into comics, but the other ones. You know what I'm talking about. Bleeding Cools and those kind of guys, right? Because most of those comic book creators have blocked me. I've never done anything. You know me personally. That's not even who I am as a person. But you expect me to lie and say nice things about Vita Ayala's work? You want me to lie and say nice and kind things about, the stuff that's come out of Dan Slott? Like, I can't do it. I'm not going to lie. So they blocked me. So because I'm blocked, I don't qualify to even get those jobs if I wanted to do that as a gig. Yeah, it's so insane.
Yet, it's because you like the wrong person, because you follow the wrong person. You get swept up in the blacklist. How will I go on without Eric Larson? Without being able to look at what Eric Larson tweets about.
Yeah, he's a crackpot beyond crackpot, actually. Yeah, it's his stuff. Yeah, his stuff's pretty crazy. I mean, I guess if you're really, really into it, there's actually like a pornographic Savage Dragon cover that's like it would come like bag like a Playboy would back in the day or something. I don't even know. Dude will do all these crazy stuff. So Cheese calling out the bigger debate. The bigger debate is X-Men Team Gold, X-Men Team Blue. The problem is, they didn't leave them static enough for us to know who's which. Like you know what I mean? So yeah. Versus Blue. Let me look and see what the standard team lineups are. I
was just trying to look that up.
I'm pretty sure Storm was in charge of Team Gold and Cyclops was in charge of Team Blue.
Right.
Let's see. Yeah. I've got something here from CBR. Quote, dubbed the Blue and Gold teams, both lots found themselves under the command of a seasoned X-Men leader. Storm led the Gold team, while the Blue squad served under Cyclops. The latter team featured Wolverine, Psylocke, Beast, Rogue, Gambit, and Jubilee. So that was the Blue team with Cyclops.
That's the Blue team. Yep.
Storm had Jean Grey, Colossus, Iceman, and Archangel.
Yeah, Blue Team was
Bishop.
definitely the bigger. Yeah. Yeah, Blue Team was the one that would sell more issues, be more interesting to the stories. However, they would be very creative with how they handled the Gold Team. And I have to be honest, it really allowed for Storm to shine. They really gave her good opportunities. So let's see. He also said that happy that Jim Starlin got to end his saga of Thanos and Adam Warlock his way. Yeah, it's so freaking messed up. He has to be really frustrated too because of how much the Silver Surfer played and all that too, and they didn't have the rights to all that kind of stuff. Let's see. Oh yeah, Vinny Tortomella is a great comic book creator. Channel Vinny Art. Yeah, I've caught a little bit of his stuff over at Vinny Art. Don't know much about it. Haven't had enough time to dive deep. I didn't come with a bunch of notion already. So Zach likes Thin Blue Line. Good. Yeah, I can't wait to dive into it and really get to spend some time chewing it up. So it's good stuff. So where do you think? Let's just say Rippa 2.0. I don't even know how many months. I don't know what's going to happen between now and the end of the year. Let's just say we have our second drop, whatever that issue is. By then, everyone will have read ISOM. Is ISOM the determining factor of what happens next? Or do you think the thirst will carry over, let's say, 60, 80%? Or what are your predictions? You guys think how it'll play out from here?
What do you mean, just with his content or with like all of the indies?
I think with his content in particular, I think with all the indies, it's still. I think there is some overlap. I think it has helped get the word out, but I still think all of that's probably creator by creator.
Personally, I think that with Rippa, he's already knee deep into whatever he's going to do next. A lot of if you listen to that one talk he had with EBS, a lot of what he is doing is advice that EBS has been putting out there. Having all of this set and done and finished, that is something he learned watching all of this play out. So with EBS is kind of like the prototype of how to do this and how to do this correctly. Rippa's just like ping-ponged off of that into superstardom. I think he's already knee-deep into whatever he's got next and will be knee-deep into whatever he's going to have after that when he releases whatever he's going to do next.
Well, I know he interviewed Chuck Dixon. He dropped the hints about Chuck doing some work for him. So I tell you what, you want to start making another $5 million, you start pinging one or two of these creators to join him, and you're going to see it get stacked.
I think it's largely going to depend on what he does decide to do next. If I'd almost want to say the smart money would be to go and make a comic about the female Yaira, because I think she's got that big appeal. That's where the people are. There are people showing up dressed as her. I think people want to see that character, and I think if it was me calling the shots, I'd see about putting out a comic about her.
Yeah. I think it'll be interesting. I will say the Image stuff lasted pretty long. Like we went several years. People have a short attention span, so I will be honest. They're all about what's hot today. But it was several years, so they had plenty of opportunity to make names for themselves, sell a lot of books, make a big splash, make a big footprint, so to speak. Pretty sure that the creators got to keep a lot of their rights working with Image. Like that was really pretty cool to see. I assume Silvestri has a lot of control over Shadowhawk and things like that. So I think that it was a great thing to live through, and I think we're going through it a little bit. And I'll be interested to see how Rippa evolves. Because obviously, so much more money happened sooner than he expected. So I'm hoping that this was part of his plan of like, well, this is what was next, this is what was next, this is what was next. But now that timeline can be faster because the revenue's there, the money's there. Go to print, pay artists, pay writers. We're good to go. So Zach says, too bad Rippa didn't have 3 titles ready to go. Well, yeah. 2 other creators. Obviously easier said than done. Yeah. But I think that timeline, though, Zach, is to get you the next one. So let's say his timeline was 4 months or 6 months. I think it's easily cut down. It's way faster. especially depending on how big they want them to be. Like it would be. It seems like it's very easy to see. I think isn't Isom one isn't it like 96 pages? I think it's a 96 page book, right? It's easy to see 48 pages coming out for Christmas, like an Isom number 2. It's 48 pages. Isom number 3 comes out in, let's say, February, and then you have, like you said, Yara number 1 or Yara, some sort of Yara special comes out for Christmas. These things seem very tangible with that much money that came in. So that's what I hope to see, and I want to see more. Like Mike Barron's just beginning. Like he was with me. He talked about Private American. Private American will be live any day now, so we'll be able to start buying our pre-orders on that. I know Graham Nolan talked about his next project. He also is pumped. I mean, talk about getting excited. Monster Island coming back. Escape from Monster Island's coming, and then he also talked about doing hard copy reproductions of the old ones if you don't have a copy of those. So, and obviously EVS stuff's still cranking along with Cyber Frog, Dan Fraga. I got Lopresti stuff. I'll pull some of that stuff. What about some of you guys? What's some of the stuff that you guys are into that you're really enjoying?
So I've been kind of actually stepping back a little bit from comics. I've been getting more into the world of tabletop role-playing games. That's where my interest has really been being drawn lately. And that has its own similar like ups and downs. Like Wizards of the Coast is just seemingly it has not been able to put out a good book in like 2.5 years. It feels like
because they've been bending over backwards for the woke mob.
Yeah.
So
as a result,
sorry.
Oh,
you go ahead.
Just to say that, to kind of finish the thought. As a result, I've been seeing more and more people going into a lot more of the indie scene, going into like small, like basically people taking the basic rules and like making their own systems and doing a lot of the similar stuff we're seeing with like the Comicsgate guys.
Yep, they're on Indiegogo. Check out some of the independent board gaming on Indiegogo and some of the other sites like that. Absolutely awesome. They're coming out with some absolutely awesome games. I've known Mary's Game Room for the last couple of years. She gets a lot of those. Her and Mark Definitely Tired get a lot of those independently made games. They're constantly funding them on Indiegogo and GoFundMe, and some of those are better than the core stuff you'll get out of Wizards of the Coast, out of D&D, out of some of the other stuff. I've also seen, like you said, Ironcaster, I've seen people go back and they're buying old box games, the old big like dungeon crawler games, and playing stuff back from the 90s, man. They don't even want the stuff that's coming out now.
I mean, heck, they just brought back HeroScape.
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. So this was Aaron Lopresti's book. It shipped and arrived, so I have all the different covers, but here's the main cover of Wraith of God. And I have to tell you guys, I'm so excited about this. I just had
that looks absolutely awesome.
It had like a Death Dealer feel for me, and
I love to look at that.
I had all the different versions of that, so we'll see how that plays out for us. Give that a whirl. You guys want to take a guess? I thought this would be funny to go back around to it. What's the number one selling DC book in 1992? I guess the way I phrase it kind of loaded the question a little bit, but not besides Death of Superman, obviously. What's the next one?
Oh, it's probably going to be Detect One. Probably are we the?
Yeah, I thought it would be too. Yeah, I thought so too. It's the 1992 Green Lantern relaunch, Green Lantern #1. After because really? Emerald Dawn had come out. Emerald Dawn has some really cool art, by the way. Yeah, they did a little relaunch for Green Lantern. It's number 21. That's how far down you have to go. So that means we're passing a whole lot of X-Men, a whole lot of X-Force, a whole lot of Cable issues, Uncanny X-Men's, some Amazing Spider-Man's in there, all these Image comics to get down to 21. And then you got to skip again on this list. And I'm still scrolling. I'm into 50 on the list. I'm passing Hulks, more Spider-Man, Cyber Force, Supreme, Wildcats, Morbius. Morbius 1. So that's that Midnight Sun stuff. Have you ever seen Ghost Rider 28, Morbius? All that kind of stuff was done back then. Yeah. DC was way off their game They were getting crushed.
It might be fun to do like a on this week 30 years ago. Like what was the top selling comic of that week?
Oh, Loki's got the book. Telling you, go grab a wizard. Just grab a wizard, and that'll be our theme for the night. Because those things are so much fun. Because they'll have like top comics, top artists, top writers. They'll have interviews. Because like people, I mentioned Stephen Platt because people were asking about Moon Knight when Moon Knight came out, and I'm like, I'm a Stephen Platt Moon Knight fan. Like beyond, the art is so exquisite, but it's that 1990s look. It's just completely different. No other Moon Knight around it. It looks the same. It's like so good. But yeah, I'm game for that anytime. Oh, I love that stuff.
So I don't have the entire year, but Comic-Con has a few months out of 93.
Okay. Yeah. It's good stuff. I missed let's see the chat. I mean, who chat? So I got to meet. Zach said got to meet Mary and Ramling. Good people. Cool. Canadians.
Spawn number 2.
Spawn number 2 what?
Was the hottest selling comic book this week in 1992.
That makes sense. Huh. That makes sense. Yeah. Oh, it was crazy for a while. Spawn was pretty crazy for a while. And like I said, X-Men was nuts. And it's funny, if you read the X-Men, that series, I mean, I know X-Men number 1, whatever. It really, I didn't enjoy it as much when I reread it until you got to the Omega Red, when they introduced Omega Red in like issues 4, 5, 6, that kind of thing. That Omega Red story is really good. Really good. I liked it a lot. A lot of gimmicks. Spider-Man's in and out. Deadpool's crossing over. It's like it was all sorts of crazy stuff in that era. So it's a little weird following these comics, but yeah.
So I have the Comic-Con numbers up for August of, I think, 92 or 93.
Right there.
What Superman issue is that? I'm sorry, I can't read it. Make it a little bit
Adventures of Superman. Yeah, would be number 505.
Yeah. Oh, X-Men 25. Yep. Yeah, 93. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, 93.
Warriors of Plasm.
Yeah, that's the Malibu stuff that didn't catch on.
We got Deathmate.
Issue 0. Deathmate. Oh man, Deathmate was such a big deal with that black. That stuff was weird because it was kind of a big deal, and they just all of it just went away. Gen X and Deathmate, all that stuff was like that.
Wildcats is on there.
Darker Image, yeah, Darker Image and Max. I remember Max. There was like an animated
Max.
MTV
Okay, that's what I was thinking, dude. Okay, so when you brought up Pit earlier, God, I was thinking of Max because I've got the first 2 Pits and I've got the first 2 Max.
Oh yeah, I got
that. Was the other one I had to have at the time.
There's an uber rare Max. Oh, it's like red or something. I'll have to look it up for you and then message you or look it up. There's like a extremely rare version of Max number 1. So Dave Bob's popped in. Hey Dave Bob, how you doing, man? I'm gonna pull it up on my phone while we're looking. You'll have to either narrate that Ironcaster or make it significantly bigger because I could not read it. I'm sorry.
That was about the best I could do there. Yeah. But let's see, going down the list. Just a couple things that step out. At number 10 is the Second Life of Dr. Mirage.
Yep.
From Valiant.
There's ash cans of Max number 1 Loki, and they're exponentially like how many print runs there were of them. So there's like a black, white one, a red one, a blue one.
God help
and
me.
There's like 4,000 blue ones. There's only like 1,500 red ones. I mean, just raw, not graded. We're talking about 4 figures. Yeah, crazy. Yeah, they're super cool, though. They are super cool. Max was a really cool book. And I love the little cartoon that they did, the little animated version that they did on MTV for a while. I think it was just bad timing. It would work now. They brought it back. People would be all cool about it. So it's a fun era. It's interesting to see the boom of the 90s and then to go through this sort of comic boom now where indie's just different, right? So the boom of, like we're saying, with Image and then Malibu, Valiant, all that was happening with the big 2, and really the fall of DC, because DC, it took a while for Chuck and Chuck gets the credit, because if it wasn't for him taking over the Bat family, I'm not sure it would have coordinated. Because I mean, Legends of the Dark Knight was fine. Most people weren't in it. I was the anomaly that was reading it. The stories were very standalone. Like on Legends of the Dark Knight, they would have 5 issues for this person, bring in a creative team. They'd write 4 or 5 issues. So people would just jump in, jump out, but no single issues sold regularly. There's nothing happening of any sort of legacy. So there's no like major first appearances, thing like that. There's only 1 or 2 books like that, because you can buy Legends of the Dark Knight like super cheap. You can probably find, especially if you want to buy bulk, like what Loki was saying earlier, like buy a whole collection of them, you probably can get them cheap. The Batman runs, there was good stuff happening at times, but not compared to all this other stuff going on. Definitely not compared to, even Venom hype and Carnage. The first appearance of Carnage was coming around during this time as well. And then when you look at today, and you see, like, someone asked me if I had Cyberfrog or whatever, so I didn't have it. I knew about it. I met Ethan back in like 2003. He was already working for Marvel at the time, so I knew of his work on it, and it was published by Harris. Talk about small independent company. That's almost as small as what Ironcaster was showing off earlier with his New England comics. Loki, did you see his Tick comics?
Oh yeah.
They gave them to him, man.
Badass.
Yeah, it is. Tick Comics. Those are the magazine size ones or whatever. We gotta get them bagged up and boarded, man. That's some good stuff. They're good.
Of course, I have a Death of Superman.
Yeah, he's got like the retail version. Yeah. It's funny when if you were to send the bagged one in, Loki, that black bag one, they opened it up. You don't get the bag. They don't slab them in the bag. People get so frustrated thinking it would be this cool. No. So it really is an ugly comic book slabbed. I think the black bag is what makes it cool. You take it out of the black bag, it's not nearly as a cool
I'll
book.
frame it. I'll frame it. Like a shadow box.
Shadow box it. One of the ones that got the cotton in it. Yeah. Just shadow box it. And then just take it out, let it air out every few years. It'll be fine.
I remember, Marvel tried to copy it with the Fantastic Four.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Did not go. These things there were so many gimmicks like that, though, because like if you remember the X-Men run, there was a crossover with Extinction Agenda that came with like a trading card, and the Wizards came with trading cards. Like that was a big deal when Wizard came out. The first Wizard had, of course, the McFarlane cover with Spider-Man wearing Wizardy stuff and had a little Spawn card and stuff. So yeah, the era was nice. It's nice. And I will say this too. We're talking about the creators. Isn't it cool to see that they get stuff that we're into, right? So we get stuff where they put in, you'll get them. Some of the extras are cards and bookmarks and little gimmicks and things like that, because they get that we enjoy that kind of stuff. You don't get that from the big two right now. They're full of their own farts, man. They're like the freaking South Park episode. They have no idea what we want. So, what else? Caster, you ready to say something?
Oh, I was just gonna ask, since looking towards the future, what are a couple of the other creators or series that you guys have been looking forward to getting?
I just got Tug's new book. I've gotten all of Tug's books. Mandy, love Mandy. Mandy is so sweet. Mandy Summers is so sweet. Hey y'all, it's like, oh my God, girl, yeah. So pretty much everything Mandy comes out with, we get. Everything Tugs comes out with, everything Ethan comes out with. Graveyard Shift. God's too many. So much stuff that I get something. I'm like, I don't even remember ordering this. So I don't know if I order it anymore, if she orders it. I don't know exactly how it happens, but we end up getting a copy. Sometimes we end up getting 2 copies. So Chuck Nixon, Graham Nolan, pretty much all the people that made the badass shit back in the day. Like Pops was saying, the open covers. Do you guys remember that Clive Barker's Hyperkind? Like the metal pushed out Clive cover. Barker. Mm-hmm. Man, I've still got mine. It's been opened and read like 1,000 times, so I'm sure it's not worth shit. But I loved that cover when I saw that cover for that first Hyperkind. I was like, I'm getting it. That covers it's shit like that you just don't see anymore. that you're like, God, you guys want to come out with 1,000,001 different variant covers, but you don't want to come out with one really kick-ass cool variant cover. Come on, give it to me. I some of the stuff like the Metaverse stuff. I got a whole bunch of black and white penciled only Metaverse stuff. Just pen. That's all it is. So it's white pages with the black pen, and that's it. White and black. I love shit like that, but that's the only stuff I'm buying that I see that I'm like, oh my God, that looks really cool and interesting. So if it's a really off idea, maybe I might buy it. But everything else, it's all going to independent comic creators because there's just no creativity with the mainstream anymore. There's not.
Well, my wife took me to a little mall Comic-Con that was happening, like a little comic show at a mall. It's a little stress break for some of the family stuff we were doing. I walked around, and she kind of laughed because it was really, really small by the food court, and she walks up and she goes, I think you own more stuff than what is here. And I was like, no, probably not that much stuff, but I own more than at least 2 or 3 of these people combined. So yeah, but I'm really only looking for, I don't have the Ninja Turtle Last Ronin set. I mean, Ironcaster, we probably talked about it 2 or 3 times. I just haven't pulled the trigger. I want to find it. I want to read it. I'm not investing in that. I just want to have a reader copy.
There's a really nice hardback. If you want something like that, it's only $30. $30, man. You can't beat that. I got my hardback for $30. It's not a bad investment if you want the whole set.
Yeah, that's what I want. I'm going to get a copy. So I'm going to go back to my Wraith of God. This is one of the prints. Look at that. Oh, look at this. This stuff's going to be so much fun. And then I get the hardback. He did his 20-year thing. So it's 20 years of sketches.
Well, that's badass.
It's hardcover in there, so that'd be cool. And it's funny too, seeing their names and stuff I'm reading. So I'm rereading. I reread original Savage She-Hulk. I'm in like Sensational, and seeing Mike Vosburgh's name on issues, seeing Lepresti and R.D. Bear on like other Marvel stuff. And Bear, I had already read Baron's Punisher run and Star Wars runs and stuff like that. So I was looking at my phone of all the things I have on crowdfunding or whatever, and some sort of that I haven't bought yet. There's like 12 of them. So it would be silly for me to try to read them all off. There's just so many of them out there. Oh, look at this. Chi says Julie Newmar's 89th birthday. Huh. All right. Hey, Catwoman. All right then. The big two are more than willing to give us 2 fingers instead of what we want. Yeah. They're definitely interested in not wanting my business and blocking me on Twitter than they are about giving me something that I want. How many people got all X-Force #1 cards? Oh, I had them all. Actually, I tell you what, I would go to stores. Oh my gosh, you guys are going to be mad. I would go to stores that would have back issues for like $quarter, and I'd buy all of them and sell the cards and make more money on the cards than the quarter. So I'd have the raw comic book, but I would sell the cards for like $2-3 a piece, especially if it was Cable and Deadpool or what. If you had anything was Cable and Deadpool at the time, you could make money. Yeah. Oh yeah. Because that money paid for me to read and buy more. So it kept it going. Yeah. But good times. Good times. So maybe we should close with something that's on your watch list. Is there something that you're like, not that anybody wants to bid against you on eBay, maybe not something like, maybe it's just something a grail that you're looking for, or you're going to look for, or something, you've talked about a couple things. You mentioned show. You think you mentioned Superman 78 and Batman 89, those Virgin covers. Is that what you meant?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I want those graded. I want those beautiful Virgin covers graded.
I just completed a little small collection. I didn't even know these existed. We did a review for a old sci-fi show on Fox that was called Space Above and Beyond, about space marines taking on this alien force that wants to kill all these colonists and take on Earth. They made a limited run. It was two sets, 1, 2, and 3, and then there was another set that just had 1 and 2. Very, very, I didn't even know they existed. I was in a comic shop in Galveston Island, and I saw this one printed that was on the wall. I don't know why it was on the wall. It was only $5, and it was
I know why it was on the wall, because it's signed by Roy Thomas.
Yeah.
That's why it's on the wall, because it's freaking great Roy Thomas. You showed me that picture, and I went, I can tell you why, because that's Roy Thomas's signature. There's no way you should be having that for $5. That's criminal. Roy Thomas is a genius.
I got the last two. I got the two that I was missing. I have the complete collection now. I'm good. I'm missing two more that aren't signed. So I've got a set. I've got a full set of ones that aren't signed. I've got 3 that are signed. So I'm going to try and find the other 2 and see if I can get them signed by, Roy Thomas as well.
You'll have to find them. You'll have to find them signed because I'm 99% sure Roy has passed. Yeah.
Complete the collection. But yeah, I just got that comic the other day because of my sweetheart. She knows
so much stuff. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah.
So she found it out in the wild and was like, "Oh my God, I'll get this for Loki."
That's so good. She's got eyes. She's got them. She knows.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's good. That's good. Ironcaster, what you got your eyes on or something? I mean, you got a whole bag of stuff right now that you could just revel in. Like, I know that they have those scenes in those movies where people like lay their money on their bed, and I don't want anybody to do that with their comic books, but I almost feel like, oh my gosh, I have all my it's like, oh yes, I feel like that way when I get home. I feel like that.
There's a whole shelf of comics standing like single issues vertically. I haven't even had a chance to like start reading or anything yet.
Yeah, it's awesome.
But it is some modern stuff. It's like the Power Rangers. It's some of the Sumerian, some of the Conan the Barbarian stuff. But for the things I am kind of looking to get, I want to get myself a Nightcrawler action figure. I want to have like a little.
Cool.
I gotta have a little Kurt.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I have to be honest.
No promises.
I lost an auction on a Death Dealer, the original Glenn Danzig Death Dealer, but that limited one, I got outbid, and I about cried a little bit that somebody outbid me on it. I wanted it so bad. There's only a few of them that were made.
Let me go through my boxes. I've got boxes and boxes and boxes of stuff I've carried around everywhere. I know I have the Cyclops from the 90s with the blue outfit with the white X on his chest. I've got the Wolverine from the 90s. These were all the old 90s. They were from the TV series. So these are the original TV series action figures. If I have Nightcrawler still, he had the arm, a little switch on his back, and you could flip it up and down, and his arm would do like the sword chopping action. If I still have that, I'll get your address. I'll take a picture of it, and if you want it, I'll send it to you. If I still have it, no promises. Yeah, I'll look for it.
And I think I might have some Star Trek stuff, some Star Trek comics for you.
Oh yeah, yeah. If you want to trade it, that's all good with me. But I'll just give it to
bedrooms to the comic store. Yeah.
If I have it, X Factor, Cyclops. Yeah.
My closets have been.
Each of them had a gimmick. So Wolverine's arms moved. Cyclops had some kind of battery in him. Obviously, this doesn't work anymore. But his visor lit up.
Yep.
And Kurt had the karate chop action. I forget what Rogue and Jean Grey did. I don't remember. But yeah, I've got the big toy line from back then. I had all of them.
Yeah, the X Factor cut. Yeah, because the Nightcrawler is more like the Excalibur Nightcrawler.
Yes, he's got the saber.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got the saber.
Yeah. Hey man, that 97 X-Men animated is the thought of them even touching that, it's just made my head hurt. That's why I created that little thing where they're talking about being mutants and all. I just can't stand that they're messing all this up. Because I don't see how they'll survive this with the X-Men. I know we talk about this, but I'm telling you, the normies love X-Men. The normies know X-Men. They love X-Men. Even the crappy films that we can debate about X3 and I don't know, First Class or whatever.
Roasted.
They love all of that.
Last movie.
They love all of that.
Got roasted with the last movie.
And for them to start going down this road and doing it so badly, they're going to think that they're going to race swap Professor X, and they're going to start adding all of this alphabet stuff. These normies are not good. Not good. They're not going. Zax is bailing out. We're gonna wrap up here too. We only got a couple more minutes, so you guys take care, Zax. If you guys got to head out, I understand.
It's like there are just certain things normie audiences want. It's like, for example, they've been showing off all the stuff for like this upcoming Addams Family like show or whatever it is, Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
and everyone's complaining that Gomez, he looks like the cartoon version of him, the original like comic version. It's like, no, normie audiences want someone who looks like Raul Julia.
That's right.
Yep.
Garde mia, mon cher. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, teach that French.
They just don't understand fandom like at all.
Nope.
And Chris Purchase blaming Victoria Alonso. Trust me, and I know this is not something I know when I heard him say this, I was like, yes, that's it. It was when Gary talked about how they're a lifestyle brand. And I went back and found those video clips where they started promoting Marvel as a lifestyle brand, telling shirts and all that. Like, yep, that's the problem. That's it right there.
Yep.
Because then you're even missing the normies. Because the normies don't behave like that. They think they do. They don't. So with X-Men, just saw the movies and cartoons. Yeah, Souls has them. It's fine. To each their own, man. We're not. This is not an all X-Men conversation by any stretch. And yes, Raul Julia made that role. I gotta be honest. The casting of those films was perfect. I don't have any objection. Christopher Lloyd who thought Christopher Lloyd could pull it off? He pulled it. I mean, it was.
Who thought Christopher Lloyd could be a Klingon named Krug? Give me Genesis!
Yeah, Christopher Lloyd is so underrated. So underrated. Christopher Lloyd's resume.
Marty!
I always forget to think about how great he is. He deserves so much more credit than any of us ever give. That guy's
Life is what you make of it, Marty. So make it a good one.
So good.
Marty, we gotta go back in time. Back to the future. To fight the Federation.
Yes. We should do a montage of just Christopher Lloyd night. I'm just talking about Christopher Lloyd. So let's figure out what we're gonna do next week. Oh, chat, what should we do next week? I thought about this. So I proposed to my wife because she's like, are you trying to get demonetized so you can get unmonetized, get banned off YouTube? I says, we need to do a night where we do the stuff we're not allowed to get. You can't get Johnny Dangerously. We should do Johnny Dangerously. You can't get Young Frankenstein. It's not available digital anymore. And
are you serious?
I tried to get Young Frankenstein because I thought I owned it digitally. I own physical copies, but I don't own it digitally. And I tried to look everywhere and it was unavailable. So I don't know why they're cracking that, because Blazing Saddles is available, or I already owned a digital copy anyway. And then the third one is this is the one. I actually have a DVD. I actually have a copy of Song of the South. So I'm not sure how long it would take us to go through that movie. I love this movie. It's so good in some ways because it's hardcore of that time and pushes all the boundaries. Yeah, I love it. I don't care. There's a way to do it tastefully and talk about these things and go through these things. I think there's a way.
I've got one suggestion for the list.
Mm-hmm.
Revenge of the Nerds.
Revenge of the Nerds. All right. We'll have to think about it. So, all right. So,
nerds.
Let's see. Has anybody wanted to watch CB Kabolsky doing a cooking show? Marvel wasn't self-aware. Yes. Putting on the Ritz. Yes. Young Frankenstein. Yes. Song of the South. Puff. Wow. You really are trying to test YouTube boundaries. Yeah. I don't care. There is a way to go through pieces of it and not break copyright. I can do it without breaking copyright. We can talk about it for sure. We can just show pieces of it and things like that. I'll probably have to use the disc, so it'll be easier actually to pause and chapter hop than it is to use digital copy. So to be honest. So, but yeah, we'll decide. We'll talk amongst ourselves. We'll figure that out. Folks, if you guys want to just hit us up with comment stuff, we'll be more than happy to do that. So Javier Bardem should have been Gomez Adams. I don't know. I got to be honest. I haven't looked at the Wednesday footage to see what they did. So,
I mean, looking at the actor, yeah, I could absolutely see him. Yeah, he should be Gomez Adams. That's great casting.
Yeah, he could pull it off. Absolutely. He's a good actor, actually. He's done a lot of really good stuff as well. So, all right. Well, folks, hopefully you had a good time reflecting, had a good time looking forward. These guys showed off some stuff. We had a good time talking comic books tonight. Yeah, we're going to be back here again Tuesday. We'll talk about some more stuff. Give it to you for real. Give it to you. We'll talk hard. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. Folks, make sure you're subscribed and connecting with them in the comments below. Special thanks to Chris Persia. He gave me the ultimate gift this week, gentlemen. He gave me the thing I asked for, and how long did it take you, Chris? A few minutes? He gave me this. I'm going to share this for you guys. I was so excited. I was so excited. I said, that's what I wanted for my special interview shows. So there's old CBS thing. And it spins around. I have the music, but I got to figure out the graphic. And I try to reach a graphic guy. And he's like, oh, people are too young to understand. Chris, like that. The boss. Yes. All right. This was a great trip in the Wayback Machine. Thank you, my friend. We did enjoy it. Thank you for being with us and doing it with us, helping us out. And Jack, folks, tomorrow, make it a little bit better than it was today. Just a little bit. Be blessed. And remember, no matter what, just go out there, talk hard, take a little bit of moment and chill. So as a reminder,
All I do is chill. My life is a thrill, for real, Bob Ross. I be too calm for the drama.